It started off as a series of portraits on one street corner, just capturing the way people look from a sort of historical, bemused perspective of capturing something of now. And then it broadened out into a bigger look at Hackney as a place. One of the first pictures I took was a shot of all these flowers outside a chicken takeaway where a girl had been shot. It struck me that on the other corner of that block, I was doing these portraits of hipsters in kind of outlandish hipster outfits. And that was my little portrait studio. And on the other corner of the block, this girl had been shot in the neck and killed, queuing up to buy fried chicken. And it really occurred to me that these two groups of young people were living entirely different lives, just based on where they'd been born and whether they were wealthy. The unspoken sort of backdrop is gentrification. I could see that house prices were just going up and up and up, that the type of people moving into the area were changing, that local people were perhaps being slowly displaced. So you had this sort of these two worlds inhabiting the same place, someone who was fairly affluent and someone who was not, someone who was poor. And Hackney has traditionally been a poor borough. So that's what kind of motivated me. You know, there's another picture from London, where is this? Hackney Marshes. And it's like a little hipster fashion shoot going on in the marshes, a model and a young photographer. So, I mean, I'm not critical of that. I love Hackney Marshes and people go there to take photographs and do their projects and things. But it's the sort of juxtaposition of images that tells the story, that takes you on this little journey into the place. So these are all quotes that I overheard people saying while I was wandering around as a photographer. One of them says, it was a young guy, and he said, "He's a bit of a wanker, but I've got a horrible feeling he's the future. I'm meeting him on Monday." Another one is, "Don't listen to them, dude. I think Nonchalance is a cool name for a magazine." That was in London Fields. I mean, obviously, you know, these are funny and I'm mocking slightly, but the other thing about gentrification is that I realise that kind of I'm part of it. Sometimes I'm in a hipster cafe and I'm thinking, gentrifies, you know, I'm scowling and being a git. And then I catch my reflection in the plate glass window and I'm sitting there with a Mac computer and my phone and drinking a £3 coffee, and I just think, God, I'm it. It's horrible. I mean, there's one, and this was my local cafe, Tina's, and the owner said, "We had a guy come in here and try to buy a cupcake with a £50 note." So these are the changing points that, you know, they become the signifiers of an area changing. You know what I mean? And so just these words alone, you don't even need a photograph. They're just as important as the photographs. Yeah, it's not supposed to be highly political. I'm not trying to nail a point here, but I'm trying to capture a mood and these changes and these little significant happenings that show an area changing.